This New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame, Austin Trout Youth Boxing Classic tomorrow. It all goes down at the Las Cruces Convention Center. And as luck would have it, and I can't believe that this has happened, George Willis is in town. We did not plan this at all, George. And it just astounds me that you sent a text, hey, I'm going to be in town for this weekend. Got my brand new book out called The Bite Fight, and we're going to be doing some signings and different things, and boom, what do you know, it happens the same weekend as New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame, and it's such a pleasure to have you here on such an important weekend here for Las Cruces.
Well, it's great to be here, especially this weekend. I wish I could give myself credit for planning all this out. Not only is all that going on, it's also the 16th anniversary of the Bite Fight.
Yeah.
And it was 16 years ago today that Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield met in their rematch in Las Vegas. And probably the most infamous fight in boxing history took place over the course of, at the end of 3 rounds.
Now, George, you've been a sports journalist for 30 years. Am I right on that?
Long time.
Long
Exactly
time,
right.
30 years. This is your first book. You've covered a tremendous amount of championship fights. When did you decide, hey, I need to write a book about this particular fight and its importance?
Well, I was looking for a book project, and I had been trying to figure out a good topic that would cross over a lot of lines, not just be a seasonal book about baseball or football, but something that could stay on the shelves for a while. And I was actually watching an internet rebroadcast of a press conference for the Manny Pacquiao Shane Mosley fight a couple years ago. And Showtime put that on pay-per-view. And the Showtime people were at the podium talking about past fights that they had produced, and the Bite Fight came up, and the guy on the podium paused for a second and said, that would be a pretty good book one of these days. And I thought to myself, yeah, that would be a pretty good book because of everything that happened. And it's one of those books where everyone remembers where they were the night of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so 2 years later, you got the Bite Fight book.
There you go. So the Bite Fight out in stores right now. Where can people pick that up?
Barnes and Noble, Amazon.com, just about anywhere. iBooks if you want to download it to your phone or iPad. It's basically just do a search on the Bite Fight, and you can find it just about everywhere now.
Now you're going to be doing some signings tonight. You're going to be at the Boys and Girls Club of Las Cruces.
Right. I always wanted to do that because I'm a product of the boys. It was called just the Boys Club back then.
Sure.
But that's where I spent basically all of my time from probably age 6 to about age 12 or 13, going down there, especially in the summers, and learn how to play ping pong and pool and basketball. And that's basically where I fell in love with sports, and that led to my career in sports as a sports writer as well. So I wanted to go back there and thought it would be a fitting place because Evander Holyfield got his start in boxing at his local boys club in Atlanta. So there was a little connection there.
And just real quick, if everybody doesn't know, George Willis, product of Las Cruces, New Mexico, went to Mayfield High School. You were a quarterback there for the Mayfield football team, also a pitcher, right, for the Mayfield baseball team.
Right. Well, that's not a very good pitcher. We don't talk about the baseball so much.
The football more so, right?
Football, basketball, those were the 2 sports where we had a lot of fun.
Also graduated from New Mexico State University, and I know you're active with them still on the board. For the journalism
department, was honored to be one of the distinguished alumni.
Yep.
Last fall, I was back in town for a football game, and they recognized 4 or 5 of us, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the football game either, though, George.
Well, actually, they played pretty well. They played Louisiana Tech that night, and didn't lose by a whole lot.
Yeah, it was a close one, just for you while you were here in town. They gave their best effort. Now, you were there that night that the Bite Fight happened.
Well, actually, I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there?
I was like millions of other people watching it on pay-per-view. I was actually, at the time, working for the New York Times and covering baseball.
Okay.
So I watched the fight on pay-per-view just like everybody else, and when Tyson bit him on the ear, I was probably like everybody else, going, did he just bite him on the ear? And lo and behold, the fight stopped. Tyson goes nuts in the ring. He's swinging at cops. Near riot ensues, not only in the arena, but in the casino, and just everything that transpired in and around that fight is there are a lot of layers and a lot of stories within stories, and I think that's what makes the book interesting beyond the fact that Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield on the ear.
Well, I tell you what, I can't wait to read it. And again, you'll be having the Boys and Girls Club tonight. What time's that start?
That's from 4 to 6 tonight at the Boys and Girls Club.
All right, so as we're speaking, you can get in the car, leave the radio on in the car. Don't turn the radio off, at least while you're in the car. Go over there, see George. You can buy your book, you autograph it, all that great stuff, and it's also benefiting the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, and we're happy to have the gang sponsoring it. They're going to provide food and drinks there.
Oh, wonderful.
We're going to have another book signing at the Barnes & Noble at the mall tomorrow, Saturday, from 1 to 3 as well.
All right. Now, George, it would be remiss if we don't ask you about some of these boxers that are going in the Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame. You've covered many fights, of course. Las Cruces' very own Austin, no doubt, Trout, you've been to many of his fights.
Right. I've been I guess I can say I've been a fan of his for several years now. And I think it was Louis Burke, his trainer, and Moose Gomez, who has worked with him as well, said, hey, we got this kid from Las Cruces. He looks pretty good. You want to keep an eye on him. So I've watched him progress all along, and I was there at Madison Square Garden when he defeated Miguel Cotto last December.